Mick and Sam, taking you to Jungle Land. Bengals pride, it fills the air. Every week we're always there. Touchdowns, tackles, all the plays. Bengals roaring every way. Stories, news, and game recaps. Jungle Juice, we bridge those gaps. Welcome to the Jungle Juice. Mick and Sam, let's break it loose. Cincinnati, hear our call. Bengals fans, unite us all.
Welcome into this week's edition of the Jungle Juice podcast. I'm Sam Gormley. He's Mick Nelson. Mick, how's it going?
Oh, it's going all right. How about yourself?
Good. Have you stayed at? I mean, you're finally the boss of your house, at least for a little stretch here, right? Because the wife isn't there. So, like, have you been kept alive?
Yeah. I'm just keeping myself alive like I did in college with ramen, and I've already trashed the place.
I was worried if I had to send you like a DoorDash meal or something today to see if you'd actually be able to feed yourself tonight. But did Rory get fed?
I think so.
You're surviving. That's I guess the most important thing. And I'm sure your wife is very concerned while she's having fun with her friends, right?
Yeah.
Very
right
concerned.
At a Gracie Abrams concert.
Is that happening tonight?
Yes.
So you're telling me that your wife is going to a concert instead of watching our podcast?
Yes.
Wow.
I know. It's really disappointing.
It's honestly selfish of her. It's pretty selfish. But I guess she can always listen it back on Spotify or iTunes or one of the different ways that we have for you to do that. Yes, probably of course. Not. She listens to every single one, right?
Yeah.
No, maybe. I don't know.
No.
But the way that you can always listen to us here on Jungle Juice is we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. We're also on your favorite podcasting platform. You can find us there. Give us a 5-star rating. I'm sure she's at least done that. I hope so, that she's given us a 5-star rating.
I think she has. Her favorite. I don't even know if I've given us a 5-star rating yet.
What are you waiting on?
I don't know. I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, you probably should have done that instead, maybe 2 years ago when we started this podcast, because we're about 2 years in. I don't remember the exact first day that we did it, but I think it was like early August of 2023. So it's only taken you 2 years to get to that point. So, hey, good job. Proud of you. Nice work. On the show today, though, training camp officially began today. So we got a lot to talk about because there's a whole lot of news. A lot of news in Bengals land that we are going to discuss today. It was, I guess they had 90 players show up and 2 not show up. So we'll talk about those 2 because, and honestly, we will be talking probably about those 2 every single episode until, well, it's no longer something to discuss. But we got that. Joe Burrow talked today. Zach Taylor talked today. And so on. But first off, I think it's important for us to hit some of the news headlines from the week because there was quite a bit of news that went down, including some news that just came down right before the show, about 30 minutes before the show. I don't even know. You may have not even seen this yet. Do you know the big Bengals? Well, I guess I don't know if I'd classify this as big news, but it's at least newsworthy that we can start off the show with. Is that the Bengals will officially host tight end Noah Fant tomorrow on a visit.
Will they really?
They will.
I didn't even know he got released.
Yes, he got released Monday, I think. I think is when it was. Graded a 66 overall last year with the Seahawks PFF. Pretty sure-handed receiver, not a great blocker. If the Bengals tomorrow, it comes out that they signed Noah Fant, what's your reaction?
I think it's good depth at the tight end position, that's for sure. I'm guessing, given his receiving prowess, he lines up, at least last year, he lined up more in the slot than he did in line. But he does have some experience as an inline tight end. That he's more or less going to be some Mike Gesicki insurance in case of anything happens to him during the season. Tight ends are pretty cheap. They are one of the cheapest positions to pay for in the NFL. So it's not like Noah Fant is going to break the bank by signing with us. Having a guy that
and there's plenty of room too.
Yeah, and there's room. There's it's not like the tight end room is very robust after Mike Gesicki. Your number 2 tight end is Drew Sample, who has been not great for the course of his career. He's been
he's a blocker.
he's been a roster body. He's been, he's that. He
Drew
hasn't even graded
Sample's
that
a borderline
blocker.
fullback. Yeah, he's like a borderline fullback.
He's Ryan Hewitt. He's Ryan Hewitt.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have Drew Sample. Tanner Hudson is fine. I think that Noah Fant would be an upgrade over both of those guys. So if they end up signing him, I'm all for it.
And like Eric says here, can you imagine Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, and 12 personnel? Chase Higgins, Fant,
they're
Gesicki.
both like kind of slot receivers. I don't even know if it
would just be 4 wide, probably, right? I mean,
would be.
And then Chase Brown out of the backfield. I mean, Joe Burrow would just be able to probably pick his poison. But if you're Noah Fant, you're seeing that he's probably saying, "Can I go to the Joe Burrow School of Tight End Rehabilitation?"
Yeah,
because I mean, listen, Joe Burrow, pretty much every tight end he's used, other than one guy. Well, yeah, and even that guy still got paid somewhat. I mean, Irv Smith got paid with Kansas City, not much, but probably more than he was even worth. But I mean, you look at Hayden Hurst, Gesicki got paid, Uzama got paid. You've seen that throughout the trend. And if you're Noah Fant, I would think this would probably be a spot that at least you'd think, yeah, I mean, it makes some sense.
Yeah, and now that I'm just kind of looking at his career history too, I mean, his best seasons were when he was with Denver, right? 2019 through 2021. His in-line tight end percentage is way higher than it has been the last 3 years of Seattle, where we've seen that production kind of dip a little bit. His best receiving graded season at 80.3, 62 receptions, 673 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty solid numbers for a tight end. He lined up in line at tight end 78.3% of the time. So are they going to try to transition him back to that role? I guess is that a possibility as well?
To me, this would be almost this is what they had hoped Eric All was going to be this year.
Exactly. That's a good yes.
Yeah,
yes.
This is what they had hoped Eric All was going to be this season. No Eric all year. He's already been put on the PUP list. He's out for the season. I mean, I think it listen, and these, I feel like though, whenever the Bengals bring in a free agent like this, it almost never actually turns out. So who knows if it'll actually happen, but at least it's
who are we referencing
exciting.
Here? We're referencing a lot of players.
A lot of guys.
Tier Tart's the only one that comes to mind right now.
They had the cornerback last year. What's his name that came in? Oh gosh. The older aging corner.
Stephon Gilmore?
Yes, thank you.
He came in.
Yes, he was on a free agent visit last year. So there have been a couple of guys like that. Bengals made some front office title changes. Steven Radicevich, Mike Potts, and Trey Brown all are assistant general managers now. Andrew Johnson is a scouting executive, which I find hilarious. I don't know, like a scouting executive. And then they officially hired Tyler Ramsey, Josh Hinch, and Trey LaBounty as all new scouts. So there you go. That's all your news.
So we got assistant GMs, but
not an actual GM.
Are they all assistants? They're all Mike Brown's assistants.
Well, I guess they're technically like Duke Tobin, because I mean,
but Duke Tobin's not the GM. He's the director of player personnel.
I don't know why they aren't assistant director of player person. I don't know.
It's a lot of words for a title.
It's like assistant to the regional manager. And I guess this is just trying to give these guys a reward for being loyal and so on. I know Trey Brown has had some interviews for GM positions. There was one last year that he was a finalist for, maybe Jacksonville, if my memory's right, and it ended up going to the guy from the 49ers. So I think they're hoping that maybe this will make him want to stay a little bit more. Bengals did officially sign Demetrius Knight Jr., their second-round pick. There's one guy that's not signed. We're going to come back to him in just a few moments. I mean, this is going to be a pretty good signing for the Bengals. At least it's done, and he can now start practicing because Demetrius Knight Jr. is playing a huge role in this Bengals team this coming season.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most tabbed rookie that was drafted this offseason here to come in and start right away. I mean, the writing was on the wall that Jermaine Pratt was pretty much going to be out of the building towards the end of the season last year and into the offseason. Everybody knew Jermaine Pratt was going to be gone. They had to find a replacement for him, found Demetrius Knight in the second round. Yeah, that dude's going to be on the field immediately. And also, you got to get your usage out of him now while you can, because the dude's 26 years old.
Don't you love that? It's like, gosh, 26, so old. It's like, well, we're older than that now. Gosh. But yeah, no, you're not wrong. But honestly, you're seeing a lot of experience out of him, and I think he's going to be a really good fit for the Bengals. And then you're also going to have like a Barrett Carter in there to see what he can do, and so on with that. Some signings that the Bengals made as well. They signed Desmond Ridder and released Logan Woodside. I was listening yesterday to Mo Egger. He was on with or Paul Dehner was on with him, and I was listening to his show. And there might not be a bigger Desmond Ridder guy in the world than Mo Egger. Like, he was mentioning that he apparently does not own a Bengals jersey, but is going to buy a Desmond Ridder Bengals jersey because he's a big UC guy. But as he made the good point, and honestly, this is the truth. If Desmond Ridder is playing meaningful snaps for the Cincinnati Bengals next year, it has gone real bad. It has gone real bad. So, I mean, this, I don't really know if this means anything. I mean, I guess, yeah, you get a local guy from Louisville, went to UC, but if Desmond Ridder is playing any meaningful snaps, we're screwed.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a test run to see who's going to be the replacement for Jake Browning. Jake Browning is on his last year of his current deal. I think given his play that he had in 2023, he's going to pretty much price himself out of the what the Bengals are willing to pay for a backup quarterback. You got to start trying to find your replacement now. I think that the Bengals kind of spent at least one season kind of grooming Jake Browning to take over that backup quarterback gig. I mean, he was on the roster during the 2022 season, I believe. Brandon Allen was still the backup. So he was on the roster for all of 2022. Wasn't even tabbed to be the favorite to be the backup for 2023. Remember, we signed Trevor Siemian to take over that role.
Bengals legend Trevor Siemian.
Yeah, Bengals legend Trevor Siemian.
And hey, shout out to Drew Plitt.
Yeah,
I think he was also there that year.
String QB Drew Plitt. Oh damn, Tommy, that's
Tommy. That is a take, and I'll be honest.
God.
I don't know that I agree with that. Tommy writes in and says, I wouldn't be surprised if Thorne beats out Ridder. Sorry, not sorry.
Ridder's had some pretty shoddy play in the NFL.
Yeah, but Peyton Thorne. Oof.
It's not great. It's not great,
but
Bob.
Yeah, like Desmond Ridder, he is your practice squad quarterback. Now, the one thing that I find interesting is that, like, Desmond Ridder versus Logan Woodside. Like, I guess Desmond Ridder probably a little bit more athletic, and maybe you're trying to find some, because, I mean, he will play the role of a scout team quarterback, and you're thinking, okay, you're maybe going to face some more athletic quarterbacks. Maybe he can do a little bit more than Logan Woodside could do in that realm. Maybe. Because I like, but then again, we're spending 5 minutes talking about the third string quarterback.
Like comparing for Lamar Jackson than
like
having Desmond Ridder as your scout team quarterback. That's that's interesting.
But like, I guess Desmond Ridder is more Lamar Jackson than Logan Woodside is, but that's like saying I don't even know the comparison.
I thought Logan Woodside was fairly athletic. Am I off base by saying that? That's
I don't know that. Like, I don't know. I mean, listen, but I think I told you the other night, I was hoping that they would have kept Logan Woodside because it would have been a fun story that Logan Woodside from Frankfort, Kentucky, Desmond Ridder from Louisville, Kentucky. I was hoping that we were going to have a Frankfort versus Louisville matchup for who is going to be the third string quarterback. Who's going to be the practice squad guy? Like, get rid of Peyton Thorne. Let's have Woodside versus Desmond
Ridder.
Yeah.
Okay,
but
yeah, Logan Woodside's not a runner, by the way.
No,
His run grades in college were atrocious. So never
Yeah.
mind. I didn't know what I was talking about.
And that was
Let's see,
was
Peyton
at
Thorne
Toledo
rushing
as well.
stats.
Peyton Thorne, I think, can move a little bit. But Peyton Thorne
Yeah,
can't
his run
really
grade
throw the ball.
isn't great.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
see
not
what
good.
Desmond
But
Ritter's run offense. Go ahead.
I love that we're taking so much time talking about the practice squad quarterback position too. This is what this podcast is about. People
Okay,
are
Desmond
doing.
Ritter is by far the best rushing quarterback out of all the backups not named Jake Browning.
Yeah, and I mean, but like Mo Egger said yesterday, and this is not like it's a profound statement by him. If Desmond Ritter, Peyton Thorne, or whoever the hell other than Joe Burrow, and maybe Jake Browning, but really other than Joe Burrow is taking meaningful snaps at quarterback, the Cincinnati Bengals have a massive problem in 2025. There's just no other way to put it than that. Now, they did make 3 other signings. One is actually interesting. They signed McTelvin Agam. I honestly don't know.
Interesting one?
No.
Okay, good. I was
third round pick from the Broncos in 2020. 244 career snaps, but only has 13 snaps over the last 3 years. They signed a center, Andrew Rame, who was an undrafted free agent last year by the Panthers. Now, here is an interesting stat.
Is he the one from Arkansas?
He is. He is.
Okay. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Yes, you're right. He played 4 career snaps last year. 4 snaps, all came in special teams. But it was week 4 for the Panthers that he played 4 snaps on special teams, which means that those 4 snaps were against
us,
the Bengals. So clearly they made a big impression. But the one that actually stands out is Taven Bryan, former first-round pick in 2018 by the Jags. He's been around, played for the Jags, the Browns, the Colts, graded a 58.2 last year with the Colts. But this is a guy that you could see making the team. We talked at length last week when we were doing our 53-man roster projection about how, I was looking at who would be the last defensive tackle. I don't think you ended up keeping a last defensive tackle. I think I kept an extra one, if my memory's right. Mm-hmm. And I went with Eric Gregory. Gregory or Howard Cross. Now, Taven Bryan could be a guy that might change your mind on that and could slide into that role of being one of your last defensive tackles.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a roster bubble candidate. He's been around the league for a while. Like you said, former first overall pick. Has never really particularly that was a rhyme there. He's never particularly graded well throughout his career. Always grading in the high 50s, low 60s. Had actually a decent first couple of years with Jacksonville, grading 76 on defense and 69 in his rookie year.
Nice.
Nice. Always been kind of viewed as this toolsy kind of 3-tech defensive tackle that just never really ended up panning out. But yeah, I think it's worth taking a flyer on him. I think there is news on BJ Hill, at least what I was seeing, that he has been cleared for training camp. So I think that they signed Agim and Taven Bryan as a potential insurance policy in case if BJ Hill isn't ready to go and you don't just have I'm blanking.
Chris Jenkins?
If we don't just have Chris Jenkins, thank you, as the other 3-tech on the roster here, ready to start and play meaningful snaps.
I do have to make a note to 1830. That's how long we made it before the podcast now has to be marked as explicit. So there we go. Great job. That might be your new record, is it? No, I guess there was the one episode a couple of weeks ago where you went to the very
last week. I went to the very
I think it was it last week? The last 2 minutes, I think and then you drop.
And now we're 19 minutes in until I chew some gum.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna get a sponsorship before we do it. But yeah, and then also, I mean, you think about it. You mentioned injury. I mean, what happens if one of these guys gets hurt? I mean, you're just adding more depth, which honestly is what good teams do, especially with something that we're going to be talking about here in a few minutes with a defensive line that's already, got maybe 1 or 2 issues. Like there might be, but we'll come back to that here in a few minutes. There's a couple more. There's a couple of more things to hit. Zach Moss was placed on the non-football injury list. We talked about that a little bit last week, how, the neck, Zach Taylor said today that they're just kind of working him back in. What I did find at least interesting is that when one of the reporters today in Joe Burrow's press conference asked him about the running back room, and he goes, like, Chase Brown is Chase Brown. He's awesome. He says we know what Samaje can do. And he says, and Taj Brooks seems like he can run really well. I can't wait to see him with the pads. Next question. Didn't mention Zach Moss at all. Now, is that because he hasn't practiced in a while? Or is that Joe Burrow's somewhat telling us something?
I'm going to go with the former. I think it's just Zach Moss is dealing with a neck injury. I don't think any of us have expected, are really expecting him to be on the field immediately. We're not sure what the recovery time for Zach Moss is, considering, how peculiar of an injury it kind of is. I mean, neck injuries can be really tricky. So I don't think that it's Joe Burrow really snubbing Zach Moss or giving any hints to how the Bengals are going to construct their roster here. Probably just kind of slipped his mind. He hasn't worked with Zach Moss in a fat minute here. So, yeah.
I think 8 games Zach Moss played in last year, give or take, right?
Yeah.
Something around that realm. And I mean, who knows what kind of role Zach Moss is going to have on the team anyways. And then the last piece of news that we have to hit on is we got to talk at least a minute or two about the Browns today. Have you seen it?
What, the brown uniforms?
With the brown helmet?
Yeah.
And then they unveiled their brown helmet, and the sponsor for the brown uniforms of the Brad helmet. Did you see what the sponsor was?
No.
Dude Wipes. Which I don't know why that made me laugh as much as it did, but I was like, come on, Browns. Like, really? Like, of all sponsors, you're doing Dude Wipes for your new brown helmets. And then Eric brings up the point that they unveil it like on a dock or a barge or something in Lake Erie. And there was a guy like filming it. And I don't know if he worked for the Browns. He was wearing a Browns uniform, but he's like trying to turn around and he falls into the lake in the middle of filming this. So it's just like the Dude Wipes, brown uniforms, dude falls into the lake. The
Browns keep on browning, they just, they keep on keeping on,
With as much like controversy surrounding the Bengals, I needed a good laugh. And that was a nice laugh.
It's really funny. They keep on browning. They've been browning for the past 30 years. And they're getting a brand new freaking like multiplex stadium. It's where's the love for us? I mean, I imagine Jimmy Haslam's probably throwing up a little more dough than Mike Brown is for
Jimmy Haslam's got a couple of dollars.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of money.
He's got a couple of dollars. Okay.
Yeah. Is he Flying J or Pilot? I can't remember.
Pilot. I think he's Pilot. He's a big Tennessee guy. Okay. Now let's get into the two real big stories that are happening right now. And something tells me that we're going to be talking about this a lot over these next couple of weeks. And how about should we start with Trey Hendrickson? Let's just start with Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, we got our hopes up a little bit last week.
So Trey Hendrickson placed on the did not report list, which means that he will be fined $50,000 per day. And to me, I'm just thinking here, Mick, I'm like, wouldn't it be nice to be in a financial situation where $50,000 per day is just like,
Well, given how poor he is with the $16 million contract this year, how many $50,000
it's just
days? How many days do we have until he runs out of contract money?
That's more than I make in a year, and I'm like, that's fantastic.
Okay, he would have to be holding out until he has 320 days to give here, so he won't run out of his entire contract if he decides to sit out. But
I think he's going to be okay. Mark says, I feel like they did that to go viral about the guy falling in. Browns couldn't even screw up that bad, right? I don't know.
I think they can.
I don't know. I don't know.
Have you seen the Deshaun Watson contract?
Yeah. So here's what people said on it, because I think it's important for us to at least discuss this. Mike Brown on Monday, they had mock turtle soup. He says, I think we are in a good spot. I hope this thing comes together soon. I'm just going to leave it at that. Later that day, Trey Hendrickson tells Diana Rossini that the Bengals made 2 offers in a 24-hour span, none containing the guarantees past the first year he was looking for. He said on Mike Brown, as a man, he's amazing. I don't think anyone in Cincinnati has a bigger heart. I understand this is part of the business. I don't want to repeat my actions at minicamp. I have a great relationship with Zach, and I want to keep it that way. The Bengals want me to be in Cincinnati, and I want to be in Cincinnati as well. To me, though, I think Charlie Goldsmith on Twitter really did a good job in explaining this entire situation. He said, you can definitely make a case that not offering Trey Hendrickson significant multi-year guarantees is justifiable. He's a very good player, but he's not a perfect defensive end. The thing is, though, if you've decided that you view Hendrickson that way and won't budge on multi-year guarantees, then you should have just traded him in March, opened up the cap space, added a pick, and ended up with pieces who would be helping you both now and past this year.
Yeah, they tried to do that. They were just asking for way too much. So yeah, they don't value Trey highly enough to pay him, but they value him too highly to take a reasonable trade offer for him. So it's like, I don't know. I think they're kind of contradicting. The ownership is kind of contradicting themselves in a way, in that manner. And then Trey's also kind of contradicting himself as well. He said he's more than willing to take less in some ways in order to make a deal work. Well, the guarantees are probably the best way for the Bengals to fulfill that. And, Bengals don't offer a lot of guaranteed money in contracts, but also they've been very loyal to their players. They're not just going to make Trey Hendrickson a cap casualty when these the Burrow contract is already kind of taking effect on the cap space now, but when the Chase and Higgins contracts take effect on the cap space in the future. They've been pretty loyal. They've been pretty, they've been good at not, getting rid of contracts whenever it may be time to do so. So I don't know. I think somebody's going to have to give at some point, obviously. Trade really doesn't have a lot of options. If he decides to sit out this year, he's going to sacrifice future guaranteed money because nobody's going to really trust to give him that money. He's going to be another year older. And I don't think teams really like it when players do that. It doesn't matter if it's the Bengals, stonewalling him or not.
He'll be a 31-year-old defensive end who has not played in a year.
Yeah, he'll Le'Veon Bell himself. That's just, you don't want to do that. So,
because the issue I kind of have with all of this is, to me, when you look at situations like this, and I think it's really, you can do this with a lot of life as well, is when you have people on different sides and they give you their side of the story and the other side gives you their side of the story. To me, almost always the truth of the matter is somewhat in the middle.
Yeah.
To where with this, Trey Hendrickson says, oh, they're not there. The Bengals said we're close, which means, it's probably, somewhere in the middle that maybe they are a little bit closer than Trey Hendrickson is leading on. And maybe they're not as close as the Bengals are saying that they are. But the Bengals, I think, have, let me see how I want to word this. Because I think, media wise, they've let Trey do what he wants to do. Like, they've let him say whatever he wants. And to an extent, that has to at some point say, come on, man. Like, I don't know. At some point, Trey needs to just shut up or put up, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. You are, as an able-bodied citizen, you're allowed to voice any displeasure you want to voice out. So I'm not gonna really harp on Trey for speaking out on the media. But yeah, he's gonna eventually have to give at this point. There's no way the Bengals are gonna, give him exactly what he wants in this situation. I don't think that they really have the capacity to do it. Maybe
I don't think they should.
Yeah. They have a lot of guaranteed money they got to pay out on 2 guys already. It's a tough situation. But so what are we at? What do you think we're at a difference of like $20 million in guarantees? You think probably?
I don't know.
40 million guaranteed right now, and he probably wants at least 60, if I had to guess. So and
listen, and I don't necessarily blame him. Make your money, man. like make your money while you can kind of thing. But I mean, like the thing with Trey Hendrickson is, and we've talked a lot about this, is he is a phenomenal pass rusher. He's a great pass rushing defensive end. But the other things, when it comes to playing defensive end, he's average, like especially against the run. And maybe even you can make an argument he's below average against the run. And that's where the Bengals are getting worried is, okay, let's just say we give Trey Hendrickson a 3-year contract extension. And we sign him through 2027. What happens if this season Father Time finally starts to kick in and he starts to take a dip in his play?
Yeah, what
and
if
they're
Carlos
tied up with
Dunlap and Geno Atkins contract,
they got burned on
contract situations?
They got burned. But then again, you could say, okay, what if he is a Calais Campbell, just as an example of a guy who's still pretty productive up until he's 175 years old. And it's a lot of this risk that comes into this. And I don't know how this gets solved.
Yeah. Your guess is about as good as mine. I still think Trey's going to be on the team at some point.
But is it maybe in October?
I don't know I don't think it's in October. It might be like a Chris Jones type of situation where he's holding out a couple weeks into the season. But yeah, and then I guess, the Bengals really just have not set themselves up right at all. The front office has not set themselves up right at all in this situation, because we have another edge rusher who we're kind of picking to be Trey's replacement in a way, or at least Sam Hubbard's replacement this year, who's also in his own contract dilemma. So like, work out one of these two things. I think the Shemar Stewart contract situation, and we're going to transition to that here pretty shortly, should be pretty easy to just get rid of the clause that you have in the contract. Like what? Why?
Let's just go into that, because I did a lot of research into this, and honestly, my research from the end of this, I'm on Team Bengals when it comes to Shemar Stewart, 1,000% Team Bengals. And I'm trying to look at that in an objective way. So the Bengals, the Shemar Stewart deal, if you're not familiar, what is the issue with it? Is they have language similar to most first-round picks across the league, but which they have not specifically used before with a first-rounder. And pretty much what it says is this language is they want to have a void if Shemar Stewart gets in trouble with a law or something like that they want to have a void to be able to, can we call it a Henry Ruggs clause? Yes. That might be it.
Yes.
That's obviously the extreme end of the circumstance, but it's something like that if that would happen. Different for Miles Murphy and Amarius Mims, and the club wanted to change it to get back into this. About 2/3 of contracts have this clause in it in the NFL.
So is it to the language of, criminal charges, just criminal charges with most
That's
of
from
these
what
contracts?
I understand a lot
because
of
the way that I've been, that I've kind of researched is that it doesn't have to be a criminal charge. It could be simply a suspension for something that's not criminally related. In the contract language here.
Mike Brown described it as silliness. Duke Tobin says he's getting the advice he paid for and expressed frustration about evolving deals as well. His quote was pretty much, every other team is allowed to evolve when it comes to deals. Why are we not allowed? Why does everyone always come at us when we try to change our deals to look more like the rest of the NFL?
See, I don't know. I'm just curious. I really don't know for sure as to how far the language is going in this contract as opposed to the default clauses that other teams are offering.
To me, this is just Shemar Stewart's getting horrible advice from an agent. Like, I don't know. This is one of these scenarios, and honestly, the fault for the Bengals on this is that maybe they didn't do their due diligence on a Shemar Stewart for a lot of these situations. I guess, it says discipline levels of the league that resulted in being suspended or are saying we aren't going to accept that. is what Mike Brown said. So looks to bring the clarity to potential voiding of future guarantees if Stewart has a transgression that advances to significant disciplinary action from the league or beyond. But in a lot of this, though, is like, don't get suspended.
Yeah, but you could get suspended for something that's on the field. Like that's
yeah, but I mean, you're not going to void an entire contract if he gets suspended for a late hit.
No, but if they have the capacity to do that, if that does happen, that's where Shemar Stewart's kind of hedging himself a little bit. And also, Tommy brings up a good point. We don't know what the upfront money situation is, as opposed to these other contracts that are being signed with default clauses. I think that's been an issue as well. I don't know that. I don't know the specifics on that. I've heard that it's definitely an issue with this as well.
I just think for a lot of these first round contracts, though, they're the same. Like the CBA controls pretty much what it's being said in a lot of this. And, there's been a lot more that's come out, even in the last couple of days, about Shemar Stewart's agent, Zach Heiler, I think is his name. Zach Heiler of LAA Sports. For one, I know he only negotiated, 7 contracts in the NFL in his career or something. But, there has even been some things about him trying to, do some stuff with a rapper or something, and a rapper was not happy with it or something. I don't know. The more I read into it, the more I am sliding towards Team Bengals. But a lot of this, and I heard Mo Ager say it earlier today, is this just Shemar Stewart's way of saying he doesn't want to play for the Bengals? Like, I'm not even saying, throw the contract out. Does he just not want to be a Bengal?
I don't know. He hasn't said he doesn't want to be a Bengal. Okay, I want to can we jump to Tommy's comment here? So Mims got 50% of signing bonus up front, 50% in November. Bump that up to 75 or 80% up front as a concession to the new language. Is that too high of a percentage to be jumping up there?
Yes. I mean, I just, for me, for a lot of these rookie deals as well, is for me, too, is why I'm less likely to do that in a scenario like that is because you've not shown me anything since you've been drafted as a Bengal.
No.
You left early for minicamp. That's a problem for me. That's a problem. You don't, the holdout, okay. Amarius Mims, though, last year still practiced through the holdout and still was on there. I can understand why, because there can be some issues when it comes along the lines of that. I can get that. But, at some point, you got to show me a little something, or at least maybe I'd be a little bit more willing if you actually, I don't know, showed up and sat in the meetings. You're not going to get, if you're going to get hurt sitting in a meeting, then you got a lot of issues.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that Shemar's kind of taking this very personally. I think that's, I think that could definitely be said. I mean, I don't think I can recall a first round rookie really going on a crusade in the media against his future employer's front office here. So I kind of get what you're saying in that regard. But I don't think it's because he doesn't want to be a Bengal. I don't know if that's really the case here. I don't know. All I know is the Bengals have an edge rusher problem that they need to fix with one of these two guys. Hopefully both of them. It's you're not feeling confident going into the season with Osai and Cam Sample as your starting edge rushers.
Tony Pike brought made a good point today with Mo Ager. And he said the biggest thing with Shemar Stewart right now is he is missing critical training camp snaps right now. Trey Hendrickson, we talked about this, I think, last week. Honestly, I could imagine he could sign the day of when the Eagles play. Who do they play in their first game? I don't even remember who they play in the first game.
Cowboys.
He could sign that Thursday. Is that who it is? Cowboys?
Yeah.
he could sign probably that Thursday, and honestly, he could probably give you 25 to 30 snaps on Sunday, just because he knows. I know it's a new system, but he's an intelligent guy, and really, Trey Hendrickson, you're just going to get the quarterback. But with Shemar Stewart, he's got so much fine tuning to do. He's going to be learning a new system. He hasn't been in any of these meetings. He doesn't know Al Golden really from anything. Trey Hendrickson at least has some semblance of knowledge with Al Golden. I mean, Al Golden was at least a coach. I know linebackers coach, but
the only exposure Shemar Stewart has is week 1 of the of last year's college football season. That's about it. That's his only exposure to Al Golden.
And it's not like he was paying attention to the Notre Dame defense, probably.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, who is the prospect, the first round prospect that every draft expert in the world was saying this guy is the most raw draft prospect that's projected to go in the first round of this draft? Shemar Stewart. So Tommy says, he is missing critical reps. He is missing critical time in meetings. I'm assuming he's not. Is he even in the building right now?
Shemar Stewart? No, he's in Texas.
He's
doing the holdout. Yeah, and that I have a problem with. Because you can at least be getting like visual reps are not as good as on-field reps, but there's something. Being in the meetings, learning how the team works, learning the defense.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. You can watch. Those are the things I think he's handling it very poorly. And that's where I think you turn back to the agent and say, what kind of advice are you giving your guy to tell him to not even show up?
Now, is his agent telling him to do that?
You would think his agent has some semblance of pull, and his agent would probably say, if he didn't think it was a good idea, brother, you need to get your rear end to Cincinnati. Now, that potentially could be happening. But
oh, no. Okay. You froze up there for a second.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, did I? Oh,
yeah.
Well, we're good. But yeah, I don't know. It is a very complicated situation, but the more I read into it, the more I lean towards Team Bengals. But this is another situation that I'm not entirely sure how it gets solved, because one side is going to have to budge. And I don't see it being the Bengals, because we know the Bengals don't budge.
No, they are very stubborn negotiators.
And honestly, what does Shemar Stewart have that Trey Hendrickson at least can say, I am your only source of pass rush? He at least has some semblance of, hey, you kind of have to pay me because you're screwed without me. He at least has that in his pocket. What does Shemar Stewart have?
I mean, he would be their best run defender right off the bat as an edge rusher. That is something to be said there.
Yes, but he's also never done that in the NFL.
He hasn't. That's true. That's very true. He has not had any of the NFL reps doing that.
And he only had a couple more sacks in college football than you did last year. And I don't even think you went to a college football game last year, did you?
Yeah, did not.
I don't know. At some point, one side's going to have to give. And I with both of these scenarios. So, okay, make your prediction for both of these scenarios. What happens?
I still think both of these guys are on the team at some point during training camp. Well,
okay.
Shemar Stewart during training camp. Trey, we might be going into the first or second week of the season until they finally come to an agreement.
Does Shemar Stewart appear in a preseason game this year?
Yes.
Okay. Tommy says Stewart was my least favorite draft pick before all this started. I agree. He is the last time I felt this way about a Bengals pick was 2017. And Jim writes in,
sorry for Al Golden. Yeah, I agree, Jim.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. You got to start feeling bad for Al Golden, because that dude, two of the guys he's probably thought of to be two starters. Now maybe Miles Murphy would be the other starter, but two guys you would think were big pieces on your defense. You really have no idea whether they're going to be playing in Cleveland in a month and a half. You have no idea. You cannot be confident in that. So instead, are you going to have to start Cam Sample, who coming off an Achilles? Miles Murphy, who's literally
Joe
shown.
Shimosai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who do you got? Raymond Johnson III? Cedric Johnson?
Cedric Johnson.
Yeah. Like,
are there any free agents available right now? Are there any Taven Bryans on the edge right now that could come in and just be a body? Let's see.
Lawrence Guy, is he still available?
Well, Von Miller just got picked or got snatched.
Here, I'm looking right here on
Zadarius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney.
Zadarius Smith, I think, has been signed.
Oh, my bad. These are signed free agents.
Available. Here we go. I'm looking at the right. So you got Matthew Judon. He's available. So Zadarius Smith apparently is still available.
Carl Lawson, maybe? Bring him back?
No,
yeah, they don't have a lot of good options.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just there's not a. I like here. I'm looking at edge rushers and I see Nick Vigil's name pop up. There's a good name for the past. Are we going to trust Nick Vigil to come in and be a edge rusher?
He become an edge rusher.
I know. That's what I find hilarious is that they're classing him as an edge rusher. If how about this? I'll tell you this, Mick. If Nick Vigil is a Bengals edge rusher this year, we got a lot of problems. I think I'd trust Tommy as an edge rusher over Nick Vigil. But yeah. Does Trey Hendrickson appear in any preseason games? I don't think there's any chance, right?
No, not a chance. Not a shot.
What's the percentage chance he is in Cleveland in uniform?
After this, 40%.
I was saying 50. What's the chance Shemar Stewart is on the field in Cleveland?
95%.
Oh, okay.
He's on the sideline. I don't know if he'll be on the field.
Will he be in uniform?
Yes, I give that 95%.
Okay. I'd even be happy if Shemar Stewart is one of the inactives.
Yeah, one of the healthy scratches.
Yes, I'd be fine with that. They just need to find a way to get him on the team. Speaking of preseason, Zach Taylor said today that Joe Burrow will play more than ever in the preseason. Joe Burrow says, yes, I'm happy about that. We did a show last year on this topic. And what we found is in the end, there is no correlation between playing in the preseason and having a quote unquote fast start. None.
Yeah.
If Joe Burrow wants it, okay. But I am going to be stressing like crazy until he is sitting on the bench with his hat on. Because the last thing the Bengals need to be doing is having some undrafted defensive end who's trying to make a name for himself, trying to make a play, lay a hit on Joe Burrow, and literally anything to cause him to even have a minor injury. I don't know that it's worth the risk. Like, if he wants it, great. It just terrifies the hell out of me.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily worth the risk, but also Joe Burrow, if he wants it, give the man whatever he wants. If he wants to play in some preseason, let him play in some preseason.
I get that, but God, I just hope he's like.
Yeah, the last thing we want is seeing Desmond Ridder taking meaningful snaps, for the team, right? That's.
I don't want to see Peyton Thorne really in any preseason game before the fourth quarter. If we're seeing more Peyton Thorne, I think that's probably not a great sign. I always liked it when Drew Plitt would come in for his one series, or who are some other great practice squad Bengals quarterback, or Rocky Lombardi last year. Drop some good names from the past.
Casey Bramlett. I remember that guy.
There you go. Got a name. I'm trying to think. There was another MAC quarterback they had along with Drew Plitt, and his name is escaping me right now. He clearly had
Logan Woodside?
No, it wasn't Logan Woodside.
Well, he was also a MAC quarterback.
He was, and so was Rocky Lombardi. A lot of MACtion.
Well, so we got an upgrade. We got an SEC quarterback in.
Yeah, that is true. He is technically an SEC quarterback. Not a great one, but he is an SEC quarterback. Peyton Thorne, shout out. Okay. That's really the news from the week. A lot came out. Did you have anything on your list that I didn't mention?
No, apparently the defense looked good today, which
There's
usually
sorry, Jake Dolagala. That's a good name.
that's
That's
a
a
name.
good name.
That is a
Sorry.
name.
Central Connecticut, is that right?
Yes.
Gosh, Tyler, great pull.
Yeah,
Jake
yeah.
Dolagala.
That's a name. Apparently the defense looked pretty good today. So Al Golden off to a strong start, even though I feel like every time training camp opens for any team, and the defense is usually outshining the offense. So
I feel like it's
sure.
like spring training in baseball, where pitchers usually outduel hitters for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I know that there was one play that specifically was mentioned. Apparently, Geno Stone came on a safety blitz, and that forced Burrow to dump it off to somebody. I don't remember who it was, and Oren Burks broke it up.
Yeah, I saw that play.
And I know Burrow made a comment saying that Geno Stone did a really good job hiding the blitz. So maybe we'll see some more blitzes from Geno Stone.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see some creativity out of this defense, a little more aggressiveness. You're going to have to, if you don't have Trey on the field, you're going to have to, coach flow your way into creating some pass rush, maybe to the detriment of your secondary a little bit. But you're going to have to get creative in that regard for sure.
Especially because, earlier today, Mike Hilton posted on his Instagram what seemed to be a goodbye to Cincinnati.
Oh,
so it seems like any chances that they would bring him back are not going to happen. Because I'm just thinking of creative blitzers from the outside. I mean, he might be the best corner blitzer the Bengals have had
in a while.
Yeah, I was going to say I can't even think of another name in recent years that you could even put in that category. So they are going to have to find some pass rush from somewhere, especially if you're not getting two of your pass rushers. Either that, or you're really hoping for Joseph Osai and Miles Murphy to really figure it out.
Oh God,
isn't it just so much fun? But
yeah.
You know what I do love? At least we're actually talking about football. Like we the offseason is over. We don't really have to worry about what we're going to talk about on the show again until hopefully like the end of February, And even then, really, we don't have to worry about that because then we're, talking about recapping the season and free agency and the draft and so on. So, really, we don't have to worry about what we're going to talk about until the end of May. And that at least makes me happy because we've got things
the dog days are somewhat behind us now.
They are.
What do we got coming up in the next few weeks?
I think we start breaking down this team, in these next couple of weeks. Maybe we talk a little offense next week, defense, and then we got some breaking down the preseason games. Like, we got to talk about that and so on. And really, a lot of it is just reacting to what happens in training camp. Because there's going to be obviously things that come out. Just hope everybody stays healthy. I hope everybody stays healthy because they do not need any injuries, especially to any guy that is important. But, wrap Joe Burrow in bubble wrap. Do not let anything happen to that man.
Yeah.
And I would tell him, Joe, if you're even like 95%, we don't really need you. We don't really need you today. Like if that calf, maybe you wake up, maybe you slept a little wrong. No, we'll see you. We'll see you the next day. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. But yeah, I think we break down to that. And listen, we're like a month and a half away.
We are.
From Bengals in Cleveland. I know, the Dolphins had a rough day today. I don't know if you saw one of their offensive linemen had to be taken away in a helicopter.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know that anything has really come out on that, but that's scary. You don't usually see that at a training camp. So hopefully everything is okay with him. It wasn't a name that I necessarily recognized. He was an undrafted free agent the year prior. Are you Googling it to see it right now?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who it is.
I didn't. The name didn't ring a bell. That doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Do you know Artie Burns is on the? Is Artie Burns on the?
He got hurt. He got hurt.
I didn't even know he was still playing.
Bayron Matos is his name. Is the
Okay,
player
well,
who
that
was
guy's not
airlifted.
starting. Okay.
He was but still airlifted by a helicopter to a local hospital at the end of training camp. He's in stable condition, but they haven't really said why. Apparently injured during an accidental collision with a teammate. So hopefully he's okay. Former USF walk-on, born in the Dominican Republic. So hopefully he's okay. Bayron Matos. But yeah, next week we'll talk more about training camp, get more into breaking down this roster, some of the holes in the offense and the defense, and so on. Do you have any parting thoughts?
No, absolutely none. Have a good rest of your evening, guys. Have a good weekend. Also, my nephew is going to be born tomorrow, potentially. So, yeah,
congratulations to Sammy and Chris.
Yeah.
Mazel tov, right? I'm sure that they'll. So, and then how soon are you going down there?
We'll be going down there on Saturday.
Oh, fun stuff. Is your nephew ready to meet his? Are you going to be Uncle Mick, or are you going to have like a fun nickname or something?
I don't know yet.
Because what are your parents? Are they going to be Grandpa and Grandma or
Nanny and Pops?
Nanny and Pops. Okay.
Yeah.
Nanny and Pops. Old Pops Dave Nelson.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Sammy.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That'll wrap us up here for this week. Remember to give us a 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting platform. Follow us on our social medias as well. And Mick, until next week, Hoo day.
Hoo day. Thanks for watching.